So you won't go from there alone, he says, but you're going to go with mighty companions beside you. That's what it looks like is in the room here. It's like I'm not going on alone. I'm looking around the room. There are other people that want the same thing. Then it says the next stage you go through is a period of unsettling. Okay, what does that mean? Well, you're going to understand that you really don't know what's valuable and you don't really know what's valueless. All you know is that you just don't want what's valueless and you do want what's valuable. But guess what? I don't have the foggiest idea which is which. He says, then at that point, you wonder, why is it I can't tell what's valuable and what's not? Well, it says, well, because you believe in sacrifice. And anybody that believes in sacrifice don't know what's valuable. So it's hard for you to tell. So you think you've learned willingness, and you've been studying to have willingness, and you've been reading books to have willingness, and you've been meditating to have willingness, and all of a sudden he says you recognize you don't even know what you're willing for. And I'm working on all this willingness, but willingness to do what? Because it's not the old values that I used to have. It isn't all about the old stuff I used to want and the way I used to want it. So I'm getting all this willingness for whatever this love and truth and all that stuff is, but what is it? I'm willing for what? He says, now you've got to attain a state that may remain impossible to reach for a long, long time. What is that stage that might seem like it's impossible to reach for a long, long time? The point that we start judging.
Yeah.
Judging. He says, well, that's the point that's going to be a challenge. We love to judge. I didn't love to judge. I love to judge. I've been judging some of y'all. Because I can see all of you. I get a chance to judge better than any of y'all get to judge, because there's some people that's hidden from your sight. So I get a good chance to judge. Have I judged? I judge this cute. I judge this not so cute. I judge this fine. I judge this smart. I judge this happy. I judge them sad. I judge, I got all kinds of judgments. My judging machine is well oiled. It is. Anybody else got a well-oiled judgment machine?
Oh yeah.
I tell you, as soon as you open your eyes, judgment, because everything you see is your judgment. Right. That's all you're looking at is your judgment. You haven't even seen anybody yet. So we got something to look forward to. You haven't even seen me yet. When you really see me, you're just going to be in ecstasy at how cool I am. If you're with me and you're not having an ecstatic perception of me right now, you haven't seen me yet. You're looking at your own judgments. God, isn't that great? And so the court says, well, how do you get past judgment? Well, one of the easiest ways to get past judgment is just to ask only for what you really want. Because if you ask for what you want, then there's no need to judge anymore, because you're judging to decide. Are you not? Aren't you judging to decide what you want? Well, go ahead and decide on what you want, and then there's no need to judge anymore. If I've decided to come through the door, then there's no need to judge that action anymore. I just go through the door and do the decision I've decided to do. So if you're full of a lot of judgment, you haven't made up your mind about anything you want to see or experience, for real. Because once you decide on what you really want, then there's no need for judging. That's interesting, isn't it? So it says, we're not each step in this direction so heavily reinforced, it would be hard indeed. So I'm asking you to only ask for what you really want. I'm asking you to ask only for what you really want in your heart. That's all. Don't ask for anything else. As soon as a thought come up, ask yourself, how does my heart feel about this? Do I get a great big heart on?
What do you really want?
What do I really want in this situation? You had that thought come up, how do I really feel? Do I feel heavy? Do I feel light? Do I feel heavy? Do I feel light? This make me feel heavy? Does this make me feel light? This thought make me feel heavy? Does this thought make me feel light? What do I really want? And he says at that point, you've laid judgment aside when you decide on that. And then he says after you start asking for what you really want, the last stage is a period of achievement. Like, so when you finally get to the point that you're really asking for what you really want, well, how do I get to the point that I ask for what I really want? Well, I recognize that I'm not alone, that I'm going to give up thoughts that I don't want, keep the thoughts that I do want. I'm going to let go of stuff that doesn't bring me peace. I'm going to decide everything on the basis of whether or not it's helpful to me. And if I've really changed, it may look like some things leave me or leave my life, but that's good because that means I really am making a consciousness shift. And all these changes are helpful. All these changes are helpful. Every change I'm going through is helpful. Then it says again, then you go into a period of achievement, which is it's funny, a period of achievement, you go into a period of POC. Interesting. A period of achievement, and he says that when you're having a period of achievement, then you consolidate your learning. And then he says, when you consolidate your learning, what you had seen as merely shadows before become solid gains that you can count on in all emergencies as well as tranquil times. In other words, I can call on the Holy Spirit in an emergency, and I can call on the Holy Spirit in peaceful times. I can call on my higher self in an emergency, and I can call on my higher self anytime. I can call on love anytime. So now, when I really believe this, I believe it works all the time, and not that it works in some areas of my life, but it doesn't work in other areas of my life. So the areas of my life that I'm trying to handle without my higher self, without the Holy Spirit, it's the areas of my life that I don't see as working. You want to know what area of your life you handling? It's the area you're not happy in. Well, that's my whole life. Yeah, everything. I know you're trying to handle everything. That's the definition of being an adult, and that's where you're screwing up.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you think you're so grown now, you can't ask for nothing greater than yourself to even give you an answer to anything. But you're still yourself, so you're still going to you, but at just a much greater, higher, more beautiful level. So it says, then you're going to have tranquility. Tranquility. That'd be a great name for a kid, wouldn't it? Tranquility. Tranquility. Now, what is tranquility? Sounds kind of boring.
Peace.
You know what I'm saying? It sounds, because that's what the meaning that I've given to the word tranquility. Not because tranquility is dull. It says tranquility. Actually, when I say tranquility, does that feel like extraordinarily powerfully peaceful and satisfying? Like everything is really, really cool. Right. So it says, well, how do you get to that point? Well, you're going to have tranquility if you have honest learning. And the course defines honest learning as consistent learning. So honesty means consistency. So an honest person is a consistent person. And honesty is consistency. There are some people that are consistently inconsistent in my life, and I don't even expect them to be consistent, and so I have an honest relationship with them because I'm not expecting them to be consistent. They're consistently inconsistent. So they're honestly inconsistent. So consistency is honesty. So if I'm doing it consistently, it is an honest learning. If it's a learning that if I do this consistently and say, I'm going to change it a day, it's really helpful. I got to keep the thought that's making me peaceful, and I got to let go of the one. See, if I consistently take what I'm learning, he says, then you're going to have